Frozen Assets by Robert Wissner. Originally published in a 1972 anthology called Clarion II, edited by Robin Scott Wilson. Republished only twice thereafter, a French anthology in 1977 and a French magazine in 1980. Read by Darrell T. Smith II for my channel, Quasar Spectra. Frozen Assets. March 13th. Johnson is playing with the bodies again. He knows it bothers me, but still he persists. Things were better 4 months ago when we began working together down here. In the evenings, sometimes, we would sit around and drink beer and play cards. It was nice then. But he's playing with the bodies again. I wish he would stop doing that. March 14th. He is at it again. Johnson's activities are difficult to ignore. He always plays with the bodies directly behind the window. It is a large window, filling most of the wall between the control room and the refrigeration unit. I cannot help noticing. I can see him in there now, bundled in his thermal suit, moving with the ponderous self-assurance of a 5.5-foot quilted polar bear. If one could imagine a short, quilted polar bear with a penchant for artistic expression, the picture of Johnson would be complete. From a humble beginning, Johnson's attempts at artistry have blossomed to unsettling proportions. It began one day when he stepped into the refrigeration unit, maneuvered 3 bodies before the window, and then twisted their arms and hands into a familiar arrangement. After returning to the control room, he paced back and forth in front of the window to view the tableau from different perspectives. "Get it?" he said. "See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Pretty good, eh?" Johnson is not well. One must make an effort to understand him. One must really strain to understand Johnson. It is not that he has no respect for the dead. He simply has no respect for the frozen. But, of course, the bodies are not really dead. March 16th. I regret ever having taken this job. Actually, there would be no job if I did not belong to a strong union. The machinery does not need me. The entire operation is automated. When a shipment of clients arrives, they are automatically processed. The natural fluids are extracted and the body is saturated with a viscous electrolytic liquid that stiffens at low temperature but will not crystallize or damage cellular structure. The tissues never freeze hard, much to Johnson's delight, but remain pliable. The effect is rather analogous to replacing flesh with taffy. When the process has been completed, robot carriers deposit the bodies in neat rows inside the vast 90,000 square foot freezer. Ostensibly, Johnson and I double-check the refrigeration unit's controls to ensure that the temperature never fluctuates more than 2 degrees from minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit. But the thermostats do that better than we can. The machinery has absolutely no use for us, and the company has less. In one final vindictive effort, Perpetual Tomorrows Incorporated tried to thwart the union by insisting that the need to maintain a sealed environment, combined with the problem of high personnel turnover, made human employees impractical. The company offered to hire 2 people per installation, but only if they agreed to be sealed in the control section for 1 year. To everyone's surprise, the union accepted on the condition that the employees then receive 1 year off at full salary. It seemed like a good idea at the time. The company chuckled up its corporate sleeve, agreed to the union's demand, and promptly forgot about us until next year. Johnson and I have 8 months to go before our contracts run out. We have bunks and sanitary facilities. Our meals are automatically prepared and delivered. All we have to do is watch the thermometers. Johnson plays with the bodies. I write on the backs of invoice slips. March 20th. I spent a lot of time thinking about the bodies. I can understand why someone suffering from old age or an incurable disease would welcome suspended animation. Medical science may yet come up with all the answers. Oddly, though, an increasing number of clients are young and healthy. I cannot understand it. March 23rd. Johnson's artistic ambition seems to increase in proportion to the amount of raw material he has to choose from. 3 days ago, he recreated the nativity scene. The infant Jesus was a birth defect case. Today, he is laboring over a reproduction of Michelangelo's The Last Supper. He's in his religious period. I am holding this invoice pad in my lap because Johnson insisted on moving the table into the refrigeration unit. March 28th. 20 newly processed arrivals came down the chute today. Johnson is overjoyed. 2 of the females are excellent Madonna material. April 14th. I am amazed at the rate at which bodies are arriving. The machinery above our underground chamber hums with near constant activity. Already the freezer is 1/4 filled. I wonder if the company's other locations are doing as well. I am deeply puzzled by the popularity of suspending one's animation. Whole families occasionally appear now en masse, and I find myself wondering about it more and more. The reasons given on the invoices often seem superficial, ultimately unenlightening. Poor people, barely able to scrape together the required fee, say they are waiting for a better, more prosperous era. Some of the richer clients let their capital collect interest while they wait for a different administration and larger loopholes. Others say they simply want to see the future, scheduling resuscitation for every 20 or 30 years. I do not believe these stated reasons. I feel that they are not true, or only partially true, but I cannot explain that feeling. I must think more about it. I have lots of time to think. Johnson refuses to speak to me. He is angry because I criticized his latest work, Columbus Discovering America. It is too static, totally lacking in tension. April 28th. I have been unable to write recently. Johnson is in his political period now. He recreated the signing of the Declaration of Independence and was so pleased with it he left it behind the window for 2 weeks. I liked it too, so he is speaking to me now. I refuse to speak to him, though. He used my pen in the tableau and would not let me remove it to write with. He says he demands perfection in his art. May 4th. For some reason, I cannot think about the frozen bodies without visualizing Johnson bustling about the freezer, twisting an arm this way or that, changing the tilt of a head, adding or subtracting an element from the work in progress. Maybe I should think about that. On the other hand, maybe I should just beat the hell out of Johnson. He has been impossible to live with the past few days. He is between works and so fidgets around the control room, grunting monosyllabic replies to my questions. If he does not have an inspiration soon, I will surely bludgeon him to death. Besides, he ignores all my suggestions, and they are good suggestions. The man's ego is insufferable. May 5th. Of all the bodies received this week, only 2 suffer from a definable organic problem. May 6th. Thank God. Johnson's eyes are once again bloodshot with the image of a new creation. He has been working continuously for 18 hours preparing the refrigeration unit for a reproduction of the Battle of Waterloo. He plans to use every available body. He says it will be his masterpiece. May 10th. I had an inspiration of my own today. I think I understand now. Understand why people are lining up to become popsicles, and why Johnson plays with the bodies. The frozen clients and Johnson's artistic efforts are merely two manifestations of a single factor. They go hand in hand, so to speak. Fear. The reason for it all is fear. Fear of death, of dying without seeing the future, without knowing what will become of one's family, of one's world. Fear of dying and being left behind, never to learn if man will finally squirm and sizzle on a skewer of his own design, or finally reach the stars. Fear of facing the great perhaps. But most of all, fear of leaving nothing behind but an empty, meaningless life, soon forgotten, unloved, and forgotten. Johnson is just as afraid, but he has more balls than all of the cold meat in the freezer. At least he is doing something other than standing around. His art is impermanent now, but who knows? Maybe he will try sculpture when his contract runs out. He may die sooner than others, but perhaps his creations will outlive us all. But I doubt it. Johnson has absolutely no aesthetic appreciation of spatial relationships or visual balance. May 11th. Johnson caught a cold. I wish he would blow his nose instead of sniffling all the time. And he should stay out of the refrigeration unit for a while. His masterpiece can wait. May 19th. Johnson is dead. Pneumonia. June 1st. June 6th. Over 50 arrivals today. Grandparents, parents, children, standing quietly in cold, precise rows. June 27th. If I can just staple these invoices into some sort of flag, perhaps I can finish the Iwo Jima scene by the 4th.